What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 150. And today we're going to finish up the week that was in week number 17. With me from right down the hallway here, he is a three-time Bigs champion. He is our commissioner. He is the one and only Ben Nisman. Benny, how you feeling tonight as we go over these final four matchups?
Truth be told, Joe, for the next 5 weeks, I really apologize to the rest of the group. They're just going to hear a ton of complaining from me. Like the show is just going to be me just bitching and complaining and whining how everything is not going my way and I can't get any luck. And there's no way that I'm going to get into the playoffs with this team. So just get ready for a lot of negativity from Ben and a whole lot of poor arithmetic. Joe, please, as always, lead us off, my man.
All right, let's get going, boys. Negative Benji and positive Joe on the show one more time. Let's start talking about the first matchup of the week, and we're going to talk about Ari Nisman, who may have just put an end to the playoff hopes and aspirations of Jimmy Dunlap. What'd you see this week?
Yeah, I already had a holding on this the entire matchup. I found it very, very unusual that Jimmy couldn't even gain any momentum. I mean, Ari batted 290. He had a 258 ERA. Just some really impressive stats over the last 3 weeks, basically. I'm feeling worried about Jimmy. He thinks it's over, but he's not going to stop trying. And that's what we ask for, that he just continues to fight. And I have no doubt that he will, but it is kind of heartbreaking. But no way it's his fault. I mean, the guy was stricken with injuries more so than any other manager in our league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. He lost Ronald Acuna very early, and that was his number one overall pick. He was the number one overall pick. Um, just a bunch of injuries really slid him down the standings, and now here we are with only 5 weeks to go, and he is in need of some help. For close categories, on Sunday it was 14-6 going in. Nothing changes, so it's 14-6 coming out. Close categories this week. Ari wins by the triple, 3 RBIs, 3 errors, 2 losses, and 3 home runs given up by a pitcher. Jimmy wins by 3 homers and 2 stolen bases, and they tied in wins. Here it comes. It's every single week for Ari on his bench this week, Benjamin. He goes
At
29 for 108.
least we're getting it out of the way early, right?
Yeah.
Uh, 267.
269. You almost nailed it. You almost nailed it. 19 runs, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 17 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 11 walks, 28 strikeouts, and 2 errors. Holy shit. The 4 homers would have mattered. He'd lost that by 3. The 2 homers or the 2 stolen bases would have counted, but he would have had to be perfect.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing else nothing else matters because he blew Jimmy out of the water for the most part.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's funny because typically we can say that this would have played and that would have played, but losing by 3 bombs and you have 4 on the bench, that's hard to get in. It's possible that he would have had to bench a home run or put in a home run. I feel badly for Jimmy. This is just one of those Ari weeks where he could have a bunch of stuff on the bench and it really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, when all of your hitters are hitting, you don't need to worry about what's on your bench. But Ari had one of those weeks, and Jimmy just flat out didn't. That's what this boils down to this week. And he only made one move, dropping Andrew Vaughn, which finally activated Giancarlo Stanton. So Andrew Vaughn might find a new team and actually get to play fantasy baseball this year. There's a couple of guys on Ari's team that haven't seen the lineup in a couple of months, but I digress. His MVP this week goes to Rafael Devers, a 407 with a 429 on base, 7 runs, 6 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts with an error. And I've got a note here about Colton Cowser being really good this week, 419 with a 472, 9 runs and 2 homers. Nice week from him as well. Really nice week. The least valuable hitter goes to Dalton Varsho, 091 with a 167, a run, a double, an RBI, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. The Cy Young, of course, goes to Blake Snell, who threw a no-hitter against Cincinnati with 11 strikeouts, an 033 whip, and 3 walks. But Sean Manaea also had a really, really nice week. He threw 7 innings, a win, 11 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0.43, so he deserves mention here as well. The Cy Young goes to Albert Suarez, 1 2/3, a bomb, a walk, a strikeout, a 16-20, and a 240. He's really the only guy who pitched poorly on the team because Ari pitched to an 0.90 and a 2.58 ERA.
Yeah, you want to say that Josh Irvin in his 5 2/3 with a loss, 635 and a 141 whip, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, no home runs given up. But you're right, like in general, like even that you can tolerate if everyone else is pulling their weight. The guy gave him 5 2/3 and just get him close to the minimum. The only issue Ari was having was climbing to the minimum, and he only had about 9 innings or something going into Thursday. But he figured out a way. He cleaned it up. He got 52 innings, perfectly done. You have to do it a lot of credit. 3 weeks in a row, basically, he's taken a win. I mean, he basically beat me. If you want to say that he did, I don't blame you. Obviously, we take shots at this guy week after week, but the formula for the bigs continues that like at a certain point a team will go on some kind of a streak. That's what happened here. Good for him because it's just like you almost wonder if this could be one of the worst teams of all time, and that's not what's going to happen here. Ari is not going to be one of the worst teams in Bigs history. I was worried about something like that specifically because it's the strategy that he plays. It kind of lends to the possibility of not only being last place, but something like 250 under 500, something horrible like that. He's not at that point yet, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he's not going to completely embarrass himself this year. He's not going to be one of the worst teams that have ever existed in this league. Right now, he's 46 under 500. That's respectable enough. In years past, we've seen that as one of the bottom 4 teams.
Sure.
So it's respectable enough for a last place team. For Jimmy on his bench this week, he goes 6 for 36.
1 for 6. Um, is that 188?
Nope, that's 167.
167. Right.
Yep. With a run, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 10 big strikeouts. Good job keeping those out of your lineup. You won that by 5. For his moves this week, he used all 10. He dropped Patrick Bailey for Shea Langoliers, 2 for 4 with a double and 2 strikeouts. Dropped Shelby Miller for Yariel Rodriguez, who was horrible against Baltimore. Dropped Andrew Chafin for Jock Peterson, who's been red hot lately. But he got a 1 for 3 with a solo homer and a walk 4 days after he picked him up. Again, Jock doesn't play every day, but when he does, he's been doing amazing stuff lately. He dropped JT Chargois for Ryan Pepio, who's on the IL. Dropped Yariel Rodriguez for Yoancy Contreras. Good relief appearance. And he dropped Nolan Gorman. He dropped Scott Alexander for Dean Kramer, who had a bad start against Cleveland. Dropped Keegan Aiken for Grant Holmes, who had an okay start against Miami. Dropped Brendan Rodgers for Aaron Savale, who was bad in Washington. And finished out the week dropping Dean Kramer, Grant Holmes, and Aaron Savale for Joey Bart, over 3 with 2 runs and over 3 with a run and 2 strikeouts, and Colin Snyder, who didn't see the field. His MVP this week is going to be Cody Bellinger. 333 with a 320 on base, 5 runs, a double, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and only 3 strikeouts. Jock did have a really nice week. It's only over 3 days, a 400 with a 571, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 3 runs scored. So, again, Jock is on fire right now. It was a great pickup by Jimmy.
Yeah, no question.
The least valuable hitter is Jeremy Pena, 111 with a 158 on base, 2 runs, a double, an RBI, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and 2 big errors. The Cy Young goes to Pablo Lopez. 6 innings, a win, a homer, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 3 and a 1. It was a bad pitching week for Jimmy. The Cy Young goes to Yariel Rodriguez, who was just horrible. 2/3 of an inning, the loss, 4 walks, a 40-50 ERA, and a 750 whip. That was the start against Baltimore. Bad start. Bad week for Jimmy. Bad opponent to run into on your bad week. It was just an all around one. You just have to sort of go like this and move on from.
Yeah, yeah. It's just unfortunate. It's like when it's Ari, you're just thinking this should be something that I can at least keep close, if not maybe double up. You end up getting double upped. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's not pleasant. And I've been there. I've certainly been there. But it's just again, I can't stress it any further in the fact that Jimmy would have been involved this season at the top if wasn't for these injuries. I mean, he was plagued by them. And
Mm-hmm.
when you lose Ronald Acuna and you lose him so early in the season, and then you're just trying to make up those kinds of statistics, it's going to be very, very difficult. But yeah, I give him credit for how he's fought through it regardless. One of the best managers we've ever had.
No doubt. No doubt. Former champion and absolutely deserves the accolades he's got. Just ran into a bad season. And like it happens to everybody from time and again. So it's going to be interesting to see where Jimmy is next season. I'm interested to see how he builds his team next year. But to finish out this year, he's probably going to make a little run here toward the end. Maybe play spoiler. I certainly wouldn't want to see him on my final 5 weeks. Let's move on to the next matchup here, Benjamin. Let's talk about Mike Sherman taking on Mike Haber. What'd you see here?
There wasn't really much to see, man. It was going to be a win before it even got started. I did not see any or much activity from Sherman. And Mike Haber just kind of had to play out his guys. He had a 6.06 ERA and won with it. He had a 1.33 whip. He won with it. He had a 2.57 average. He won with it. He didn't really put up these scary Mike Haber stats, but still was able to dominate him. He won by 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 14-5 going in, 13-4 coming out, as Mike Haber flipped walks by a batter, and Sherman tied wins and home runs given up by a pitcher in order to set the score where it stood at 13-4. Close categories this week. Mike Haber wins by 2 home runs by a hitter, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, an error, and 2 saves. Sherman wins by 2 doubles, 4 strikeouts by a hitter, and they tied in triples, stolen bases, wins, and home runs by a pitcher. For Mike Haber on his bench this week, Benjamin, 8-4-27.
8 for 27. 278.
296. With 7 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. The 3 doubles would have played. He would have had to be perfect. The steal is the one that's really important here, as he missed that on Tuesday. His moves, he used 8 of them this week, starting off by adding Rowdy Tellez 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. He dropped Tim Herron for Shelby Miller, who was horrible. Dropped Noelvi Marte for Eugenio Suarez, 2 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. Dropped Rowdy Tellez for Seth Brown, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Dropped Seth Brown and Adbert Alzolay for Lucas Ursig, clean relief appearance. He dropped Angel Martinez for Connor Wong, 4 for 5 with 3 runs and an RBI. He dropped Eugenio Suarez for Rhys Hoskins, 1 for 4. Matt McLean for Jose Miranda after the bell. His MVP this week goes, of course, to Aaron Judge. Who else would it go to this season? 455 with a 600 on base, 6 runs, 4 homers, 7 RBIs, 8 walks, 11 strikeouts. This guy's getting walked a ton now because there's nobody hitting behind him that they're afraid of. So I'll be interested to see if the numbers continue at this like ridiculous 50, 60 home run pace, or if he starts to taper off toward the end of the year because his walk numbers are going to go up so much. Also, shout out to Jeff McNeil, 375 with a 450. Nice little line for him this week. The least valuable hitter goes to Nick Castellanos, 174 with a 208, a run, a double, 3 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. The Cy Young, it's not a great week, so we got to find somebody. I guess we're going to go with Chad Green's 3 clean relief appearances with a save and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Shelby Miller. I said he was terrible. His ERA was 94.50 across 2/3 of an inning. 94.50. And he had a second relief appearance for Mike this week, and he was also bad. So 2 relief appearances, getting 2 outs total.
Yeah, a third of an inning each time.
Just atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. For Mr. Sherman on his bench this week, Benjamin, it's a 1 for 7.
One 133.
143. You almost had that one. With 2 runs, a stolen base, a walk, and a strikeout. The stolen base, again, the only thing that played. He had Mullins on the bench, and Jake Fraley did not start, and Mullins gets the stolen base, which would have won him the category. No moves to speak of. He only dropped 4 guys: DJ Hers, Kyle Tyler, Stephen Kolek, and Joey Cantillo all get dropped. The MVP this week goes to Austin Riley, 345 with a 367, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts, with a shout out to Teoscar Hernandez, who had 316, 4 runs, and 2 doubles. Pretty nice week from both of those guys. The least valuable hitter goes to Bryce Terang, 167 with a 200, a run, an RBI, a steal, and 5 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Spencer Schwellenbach. Did the Braves really find another kid with this? 7 innings, 2 bombs, 10 strikeouts, 386 and an 086. No decision. Which one was this? Who was this against? This was against Miami.
Yeah.
Amazing. They just keep turning out good fucking pitchers, and it's annoying. The Cy Young goes to a bunch of guys. There's a whole lot of really ugly ERAs here. Colin Holderman had a 19.29.
Yeah.
Scott Barlow had a 27 across his 3. Hobie Milner
Mostly
had an
relievers.
11.57.
Talking about mostly relievers here.
Nick Lodolo had a bad start.
Lodolo. Yeah, that's really if you want to point at a starter, it's got to be him.
Yeah, or Max Fried. Max Fried had a 13.50 with 5 walks.
Yeah.
That wasn't good either. Benji, we know that Mike Haber is heading to the playoffs. It's a question of whether or not he'll be 1 or 2 by the time 5 weeks it occurs. But what we've not talked very much about as we lead toward the playoffs here is that Mike Haber is also our defending champion. So we haven't seen somebody go back-to-back since 2017 and 2018. It's been quite a while. Do you think Mike Haber has a chance to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely has the team. He's not one of those 3 a.m. guys necessarily, so I think that's where he's at a little bit of a disadvantage, but he's already basically in the final 4. So all he's got to do is win 2 matchups, Joe. And yeah, that's very, very doable, especially with this squad. I don't know if you know how he's been dominating his opponents or to the extent, but I'm just going to go through some numbers. Besides the fact that he actually is our leader in RBIs right now by a significant amount. He has 567 RBIs. Second place is Cody with 533, 34 RBIs less than Mike Haber. Like, that's how many he's driving in. But more importantly, what I really looked at that I was really, really admiring is what he's been doing against his opponents offensively. Pitching as well, and I'll get into it in a moment, but offensively, 11-5 in runs, 8-8 in doubles, 4-6 in triples with 7 ties. That's the only one he's under 500 in. 14-3 in home runs, 15-2 in RBIs, 9-8 in walks, 10-6 in strikeouts, 10-6 in errors with 1 tie. Even the defense, he's tightened up. 11-6 in average, 11-6 on base. So nearly going 2-1 in all these stats, besides doubles, sure he's at 500 and stolen bases 9 and 6, whatever. But like in general, like just dominating his opponents offensive. Like you just kind of
Mhm.
know going into the matchup that he's got them. As far as the pitching goes, the two that are under 500, it makes sense. It's innings and strikeouts because he's probably just thinking, all right, you guys go get those stats. I'll get everything else. He's 3 and 14 in innings pitched, 6 and 6 in wins with 5 ties, 8 and 6 in losses with 3 ties. In saves, 15 and 0 with 2 ties. He is
Wow.
undefeated in saves so far. 11 and 3 in home runs given up with 3 ties. 11 and 6 in walks given up. 5 and 12 in strikeouts. 9 and 8 in ERA. 9 and 8 in WHIP, and 14 and 3 in RAP. So just dominating his opponents, Joe. It's going to be a tough team to beat, but we've seen the hot Mike Haber teams. We've seen the greatest Mike Haber teams. And unfortunately, we have seen those teams fall in a semifinal, in a final. We've seen it before. So I'm not going to say he's a shoe in to win the darn thing, but he's got a pretty damn good chance to go back to back here.
Yeah, he's got every opportunity to make it. He's going to have a bye here. Only going to have to win twice in the playoffs in order to do the back to back. I'm rooting for you, Mike, but part of me isn't because I'm the guy who went back to back in 17 and 18, so I don't want to see that fall just yet. But
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, man. I don't want to see another guy at like get 3 championships. Right now, you have 4, I have 3. We're holding the most between us. Mike gets his third, he just matches up with me, and then I'm not as significant anymore. So yeah, it's one that I'm sweating over, but I got to worry about myself. So let's just say we're proud of Mike Haber because
oh yeah,
he makes the league better by being a dominant team year after year and just holding accolade after accolade. I mean, I'm sure if we went to the record book right now, we would see that Mike Haber is leading in so many categories. So
Mhm.
amazing guy to have, a good guy to watch and learn from when you play against him as well.
Yeah. He is one of the smartest guys I've known to be playing this game, and I give him all the credit in the world. Let's go to the next matchup here, Benji, and we've got ourselves a barn burner here between Jay Ferraro and Bryan Lebo. What a finish to this one, huh?
Yeah, and it's an amazing comeback, and that's why I gave Jay Ferraro #1 manager of the week because he was down and out in this matchup. I was fairly convinced he was going to lose. I didn't think that he was going to get crushed the way that Bryan was holding till like Thursday, Friday. He had a really, really, really good lead, but alas, Jay Ferraro just found a way. And the more time that he had the whole weekend. And I was thinking, you know what? The more time you give Jay, he's going to find a way to get a stat here and get a stat there. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, it was 12-8 going into it was 12-8 Bryan going in.
Yeah.
It finishes out 11-10 Jay coming out. So Jay flipped batting average, on base percentage, and untied saves. That's the change. His team just out hit Bryan for one day, and that was Sunday. Let's take a look at the crazy Sunday that Jay had that gave him the win here. Because Bryan even texted me on Sunday. He's like, I'm so tired of getting run through on Sunday. Looks like a 382 with a 436 on
Oh
base,
my God.
5 runs, a double, a triple, a homer, 6 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and 2 errors. Bryan countered with a 176 and a 263 on base percentage to lose those 2 categories. Rough, just rough.
Not just rough for him, rough for the whole league.
I know, because this could have been a real like squash the bug type thing for Bryan Lebo and get himself within striking distance of that consolation bracket and maybe getting a
Yeah.
bye there.
And let's say he does win something like, I don't want to get too crazy, but like, let's say it's 14-7. That's how he finishes, a double
Mhm.
up 14-7. With 5 weeks to go, if he goes on the crazy run, then he's in the conversation. This
Yeah,
is he needed a big win here and he needed to hold it somehow. So It is unfortunate, but I appreciate that my favorite manager in the league kept it close and made Jay sweat for 7 days.
No doubt. No doubt. For Jay on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 3 for 11.
Um, is it 288?
It's 273.
Hmm.
3 runs, a homer, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and an error. He also benched a Justin Steele start that would have flipped innings, but tied home runs given up by a pitcher. So there you go. He used 9 moves. He started by dropping Jason Foley for Sir Anthony Dominguez, whom he did not throw. He dropped Jose Alvarado for Alex Verdugo, 1 for 3 with a run and 2 walks. He dropped Jose Miranda for Austin Voth, who had a clean relief appearance. He dropped Shane Baz for Cionel Perez, who had a clean relief appearance. He dropped Sir Anthony Dominguez for Hayden Burnsong, who was on the NA. He added Hunter Harvey, who had a bad relief appearance, and dropped Huascar Brazoban for Sam Mole for a clean relief appearance. He dropped Cionel Perez for Hunter Strickland, bad relief appearance. He had dropped Nico Horner, who was his 3rd-round draft pick. Nico Horner was the 3rd-rounder from Jay.
Wow.
He hits the wire for Shane Baz coming back. 5 1/3, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 338, and a 131 against Houston. I'm amazed that Nico Horner hit the wire.
Me too. It's at the point though for Jay that it's every stat matters. Every day needs to be won, and if that guy is not producing right now, he's not necessary. I'll go find someone else in free agency, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like right now, besides you, Joe, Jay has been one of the best at saying that guy in free agency, and that's the pick to click. So I don't doubt that this is going to be the strategy for Jay for the final 5 weeks. You might see a lot of turnover. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just the game he plays. And if he can make it work, like you nor I or anyone in this league can say anything about his strategy. That's the way he plays the game. He's basically in the playoffs or right around it every single season he's been here.
Mm-hmm.
2021 was his last season. He made the playoffs. So I mean the consistency has been unbelievable. I would say with the 10 ads, it's one of the most interesting managers to watch and see how he handles the 10 ads because if I stuck with 12 ads, like he would be turning it over even more.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really had to pick and choose how he's been playing these ads.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of these weeks where he had like 9 used by Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Very, very amazing.
he used 9 total, and 9 of them were used by Friday. He dropped Max Meyer from Michael Lorenzen, who had a good start in Detroit, and then dropped Lorenzen on Sunday. His MVP this week, it's Jose Ramirez yet again. 391 with a 385 on base, 9 runs, 2 doubles, 5 homers, 11 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a walk, and a strikeout. On the season, Jose Ramirez having yet another Jose Ramirez type season. 282, 29 homers, 94 RBIs, and 24 steals.
Wow. What? I didn't expect those kinds of numbers from Jose Ramirez this year. I really didn't. And this turns out to be a really, really fine 1st-round pick. One that I really, at first, I didn't even think the Guardians were going to be that good. And that's one that I'm really like, I know half of the guys on their roster, if that. But also, I had a question: what is Stephen Vogt going to be as a first-time manager? This guy is younger than me, so.
Mm-hmm.
I had no interest in going near that guy at any point, even if he came back to me in round 2. But kudos to Jay. He believed in this guy. He's been able to fill that spot beautifully.
Yeah, very well done. Well done indeed. The least valuable hitter goes to Zach Neto, 222 with a 364 on base, a run, a triple, a stolen base, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and an error. The triple certainly helped, but Jay had 3 of them this week, so he didn't really need that from Zach Neto, and Neto isn't all that good. The Cy Young, Jason has written here, Ben Joyce, watch out for this kid. 3 relief appearances, 3 and a third, a save, a walk, 2 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 060. I highlighted this kid a couple of years ago on our relief pitcher show, and I said that this might be the future closer of the Angels, and here we are.
You nailed it. Yeah,
I
you're
did.
right. And it didn't take that long. Just took one
Nope.
trade.
Yeah, of course. Of course. The Cy Young goes to Hunter Strickland, who's no longer on the team and who ironically plays with Ben Joyce. Inning and 2/3, 2 homers, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 2160 and a 240. Hunter Strickland, not good. Not good. For Bryan Lebo on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 2 for 8.
Nice. 250.
Yeah, you nailed it, buddy. With a run, a double, a triple, 2 RBIs, 3 strikeouts, and an error. The double being the only thing that plays here. He lost that category by 1, and it looks like it came on Sunday. So that's a shame. That's a shame.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. He used all 10 moves this week. He added Gabe Spire, an inning and a third, a homer, 3 strikeouts, a 1350 and a 150 and a relief appearance, and then a trip down to Tacoma as the Mariners option him. He dropped Cooper Criswell for that guy. He dropped Jesse Chavez for Kevin Kelly, bad relief appearance and bad on commentary in AEW. He drops Austin Hayes for Marco Luciano, 1 for 3 with a run, a double, and 2 strikeouts. He dropped Gabe Spire for Michael McGreevy, former New Jersey governor. 7 innings, a win, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a 129 and an 086 in Texas. You like that one, huh?
Yeah, that's good. Good reference.
Thank you. He drops Kevin Kelly for Sam Long, clean relief appearance. Dropped Eric Swanson for Sir Anthony Dominguez, not a clean relief appearance. And drops Marco Luciano for Carson Fulmer. 6 innings, a bomb, a walk, 8 strikeouts, a 3 and an 067 against Colorado. Nice little start there.
Yeah.
He drops Governor McGreevy for Spencer Arrighetti, 6 innings, a loss, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 150 and a 117 against Tampa. He drops Carson Fulmer for Martin Perez, 6 innings, a homer, 7 strikeouts, a 150 and an 050 against Colorado. Brian's just streaming dudes and nailing it every time.
Yeah, saved us. Really, this could have been brutal. The fact that he did do that with such succession, a 3.14 ERA from Bryan this week, a 102 whip this week. He manages to he's going for those innings. He wins innings by 5. He wins strikeouts by 8. With all the streams, he still wins walks given up by 4. He doesn't lose losses. He wins it by 1, 4-3 with losses. So all the streaming worked this week. Good for you, Bryan.
Yeah. And Martin Perez gets dropped for Sean Armstrong. His MVP this week goes to Jazz Chisholm, the new Yankee, 320 with a 393, 6 runs, 4 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter, similar type of player, Ellie De La Cruz, 100 with a 143 with a double, 2 steals, 5 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young this week goes to Hunter Green yet again. We've talked about this guy quite a few times this year. 6 innings, a win, a walk, 11 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 033.
Wow.
And the
Do you know who that was against by chance?
Let's take a look.
I'm sorry to break up your
That's
rhythm.
all right.
Just curious.
Looks like it was against San Francisco at home.
Okay.
I'm assuming right in the same series that Snell threw the no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
The Cy Yuck goes to either Gabe Spire, who was terrible, or Ryan Helsley had himself a bad week, 16-20 and a 240 on the whip with a loss, save. Yeah, an inning and 2/3.
It has to be him because, I mean, his team, the Cardinals, and it's Bryan Lebo's team also. I felt so badly for Bryan. This guy just absolutely effed the B against Chicago in Wrigley and gave up that bomb and then and it's just like everything came apart for Helsley in that inning. And the fact that Bryan just felt like not only the fact that his baseball team just lost a very, very important game to a division rival, that the worst possible thing could have happened to the closer. And it's like, you know what? I was feeling pretty darn good about this week. I'm kicking ass on the pitching. This was a save that I could have gotten to make it a little bit closer against Jay, who hasn't been saving at a great amount like the last 10 weeks. And especially because Jay has lost a closer here in Alvarado when the trade came over, and then a couple of trades to Henry. And all of a sudden, he really doesn't have a bunch of guys. He only had 3 saves this week. Helsley could have gotten him a little bit closer at the time. It was very, very important. So very, very unfortunate and a very, very frustrating inning for Helsley and Bryan Lebo.
Yeah, bad time to blow a save from Helsley. Bad time to take this kind of. I hate to say it, like it's not that Jay lost the week. Jay won, but the comeback on Sunday saved him from what should have been a pretty big beating, and may have cost him a season. So he saves himself here and keeps himself in contention.
Yeah, well said, Joe. Yeah, if this thing is like a 13-7, a 14-7, something like that, Jay is on in panic mode. And you start seeing guys getting dropped left and right. Who the hell knows who's going to end up on this team? Jay really did save himself, and he put himself in a pretty darn good position here. He's got Henry this week. And I said this before, probably going to say it again. I need one of my best friends to beat the ever loving shit out of my other best friend. That needs to happen in order for me to succeed this season. If they go about 500, 10-10, 11-9, 11-8, does nothing for me. So I'm really hoping for a blowout from one of these guys. I don't know what Jay's team is anymore. I've never been crazy about the constant turnover that he does, but he does it so well, and he just has such a good feel for who the hot player is, whether it's a hitter, whether it's streaming a pitcher. He seems to do that brilliantly. So this is a very scary team for me, and opportunity to squish the bug. Yeah, Bryan couldn't do it. I don't think any of us really expected Bryan to win this matchup anyway. So when you look at it 11-10, Bryan did his job for the
Oh
league
yeah.
when it comes to being a spoiler.
Oh, no doubt. Bryan definitely did his job. He scared the shit out of Jay Ferraro, gave him a close matchup that I'm sure Jay going in thought, okay, this might be an easy win for me because this guy's toward the bottom of the
Yep.
standings.
Yes.
He learned
And
exactly who Bryan Lebo was here and what
yeah,
Bryan Lebo stands for.
and the fact that Jay does drop Nico Horner, that's something that maybe doesn't happen if Bryan is breaking his back the first half of the week. So the fact that Jay started to get into what I call a little bit of a panic mode, it forces Nico Horner off of Jay's team. So you can look at it from that aspect. Bryan put enough pressure for Jay to have to break down his team to a point that Jay probably didn't want it.
Right. Right. All right. It'll be interesting to see if Jay can pick things up and make the playoffs, or if he is going to be one of the people heartbroken this year. I am really going to be watching this matchup between him and Henry this week. It's going to be a lot
Yeah,
of fun to
yeah.
watch.
It's the most important matchup this week.
No doubt. No doubt. The last matchup of this podcast here, buddy, is going to be Henry Collins taking on Adam Lowenstein. What'd you see here?
Unfortunately, I saw a lot of bench stats from Adam Lowenstein. Arguably an opportunity to win this matchup against Henry. The fact that it was 15-2 on like Thursday in favor of Henry, and Adam finds a way to get it this close, I'm happy about, because I was really, really scared this was going to be a dump trucking. Adam actually made it respectable and interesting. Got quite a few tied categories going into Sunday, out of Sunday. Very, very interesting, underrated matchup. Kind of the result that I expected, but just, I guess, relieved that it wasn't a little more lopsided.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It was 8-7 going into Sunday. 8-7. That's a ton of tied categories. It's a bunch of opportunity to steal some points here, but let's see exactly what happened. It looks like Henry tied doubles, flipped home runs by a pitcher, untied walks by a pitcher, and untied relief appearances to take that win. Adam untied RBIs and walks by a batter. Again, so many tied categories that untying stuff sometimes isn't the good thing to do. 4 close categories. Henry wins by 2 steals, a strikeout by a hitter, 3 2/3 on the innings, a win, 3 losses, a save, a home run given up by a pitcher, 2 walks by a batter, and 3 relief appearances. Adam wins by 3 home runs by a hitter, an RBI, a walk by a hitter, 2 errors, 2 strikeouts by a pitcher, and they tied in runs, doubles, and triples.
First 3 categories.
First 3 categories, they tied. Go figure. Go figure. For Henry on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 6 for 25.
Oh, come on. 2 246.
240, you got it. Yay! He said it. He said the thing. 240. Good job. 3 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. All of that plays. The 3 runs play, the doubles plays, the 2 RBIs play, the walk plays, the 6 strikeouts play. Good job keeping the 6 strikeouts out of your lineup. But yeah, the walk he lost by 1, the RBIs he lost by 1,
yeah.
the doubles he tied, and the runs he tied. Just his moves this week, he only made 6 of them. He dropped Gilbert Diaz for Dylan Moore, 2 for 3 with 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, and a walk. He must have had that guy's personal phone number.
Yeah.
He dropped Jose Iglesias for Ryan Feltner, who had a good start against LA Angels. Dropped Feltner for Edwin Uceta, clean relief appearance. Dropped Tyler Phillips for Tim Herron for a bad relief appearance. Dropped Edwin Uceta for Tyler Alexander, who had a good start, good relief appearance. Wenzel Perez gets dropped for Joe Mantiply, who did not appear. The MVP this week might be the AL MVP when all is said and done. It's Bobby Witt Jr., 379 with a 441 on base, 9 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Bryan De La Cruz, 071 with an 071, an RBI, and 4 strikeouts. Thank you for your contributions, sir. The Cy Young goes to New Orioles Zach Eflin, 12 1/3, 2 wins, 2 homers, a walk, 10 strikeouts, a 3.65 and a 130. And Tyler Phillips is the Cy Yuck, an inning and 2/3, and he was atrocious. He lost 3 bombs, 3 walks, 43.20 on the ERA, and a 4.80 whip. He absolutely stunk up the joint. Who was it start against, you ask? Seattle. For Adam on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 5 for 20.
Oh, nice. 250.
You nailed it. You got both of them this line.
Yeah, very, very impressive. Most
2
basic
runs.
math ever.
Yeah. 2 runs, a triple, a homer, an RBI, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The 2 runs certainly play. The triple certainly plays. Both of those categories were tied. The triple comes on, looks like Thursday. Whit Merrifield on the bench and Jonathan India over 4 with 3 strikeouts at second base. Yikes. He only used 4 moves this week. He dropped Alex Faedo and Kike Hernandez for Jose Quintana, 6 innings, a win, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 150, and a 1 against Minnesota. He dropped Jorge Polanco for the aforementioned Whit Merrifield over 3 with 2 strikeouts, and Michael Ciani 2 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. He dropped Michael Ciani for Jacob Young on a waiver claim, 1 for 3 with a strikeout. His MVP this week, a guy he traded for very early in the season, it's Bryan Reynolds. 304 with a 429 on base, 2 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is a man named Max Schumann. What team?
The Angels? I don't know.
Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. 176 with a 176 with a strikeout and an error. It's a bad week from that guy. The Cy Young, we've got 3 candidates written down here. I have to see which one I like the most. I think I'm going to give it to Nick Pavetta's 10 strikeouts win, 6 2/3. He did give up 2 bombs and a walk with a 405 and a 105. But the other names in contention here are Grayson Rodriguez and Yusei Kikuchi. The Cy Yuck goes to Robbie Ray despite 13 strikeouts, 2 appearances, 9 1/3 innings, a win, a loss, 5 bombs, 4 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 5.79 and a 1.50. Benji, Henry's really close to going back to the playoffs this year. What's it gonna take these final 5 weeks for him to make it?
It's a good question. I don't know. I feel like it is in his grasp, basically. His schedule, it's not the worst in the world. Yeah, he's got Jay this week, but then he gets Mike Sherman, Costas, Bobby Russo, that'll be challenging, and Josh to finish. Josh might be playing for nothing in week 22. Bobby might be done. We know Mike Sherman isn't going to play Henry tough. We know Costas isn't really going to play him that tough. He'll try, but I don't think his team matches up very well against Henry. I hope he is able to do it, but yeah, this looks good, man. I truly like I said it a couple weeks ago. If you're asking me now, I'm gonna say what I said last 2 weeks ago. Like I think my team is probably not going to be able to sustain. I already took a Contreras just hit a triple off me, so I'm already losing in triples this week. I batted 132 yesterday or something, where my opponent batted like 222, but I had 14 strikeouts. Henry is playing the best he can with this roster. And he's making ads daily. He made 2 today. Um, I think him and Jay are going to find their way into this playoff. It's two excellent managers, and they've been able to weather the storm even when their teams are not producing. Now, Adam, if you, I mean, I can't even believe it when I look at it. Adam leads our league in on base percentage with a 349, and he leads our league in walks. Oh, no, not walks, excuse me. He's actually in walks, he's fifth, but in doubles, he leads our league. In doubles,
Okay.
Adam Lee has 229 doubles in front of Mike Haber, who has 214. So it's not like Henry was playing a weak ass team. Like this was a tough team to fight against and pitched really, really well against Henry. And Henry was able to just weather the storm and say, okay, you take this stat, I'll take that stat, and win by 4. I think he played really, really well. And it's I don't find it to be the most scary roster, specifically offensively, aside from Bobby Witt, but he's becoming a scary manager. And I think the more he learns, the more he plays. He got a full 22 weeks and went into the playoffs. He got to play that 23rd week against me. That was playoff experience that he got. That was helpful also. So this is a good team because it's Henry. And that's what makes me scared. Give him a lot of credit. I'm really proud of him, and I know he's really, really enjoying being in this league. So I'm happy I brought him along to this group, to this community, because he's having a blast, and this is his second year. And if he's able to succeed, I'll be extremely happy for him. I think you know that.
No doubt, no doubt. I'll echo every single statement you just made. Like I love that a lot more of our BYWA guys are finding their way back to this little community that we had years ago, but nothing like what this was then. You know, this is completely different now.
Mhm.
This is the competition we love. This is the competition we go for, not the wrestling stuff we did back then. I love that. I love that Henry's here. I love that he's really competitive. That he's grinding every single day, and that's what it's going to take. It's what it's going to take. For 5 weeks, he's going to have to put his nose down and grind and get every single stat possible. I think he's in. I think he could make it. The question is whether or not teams around him are going to fall. You certainly feel like you're one that is going to fall. But if someone does fall, he's going to be the guy to step in.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen, unless somehow that he's all of a sudden just going to tank. Like all of a sudden,
Right.
this offense stops hitting, the pitching stops. He's winning saves, but not really winning any other categories in the pitching. Like that could happen over the next 5 weeks, also. despite who you're playing, it's like even if it is Sherman, it still is possible. So yeah, we're gonna have a crazy last 5 weeks. That I know for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh yeah. We are gonna watch with bated breath over the last 5 weeks. I know I'm gonna be watching this Jay Ferraro versus Henry Collins matchup
Yeah,
all week. All week I'm gonna be watching this thing. Benji, thanks for being here with me, man.
it's a pleasure. Thank you for listening to me and tolerating my negativity because I know I do it quite often, but for me, it's been very, very therapeutic. So I really appreciate you giving me the time to actually vent and give me this forum, if you will, to divulge because it's been very tough day to day. You and I sitting on the couch and just being like, and me just complaining. Oh, look, another thing from this guy. Oh, of course, this guy hit a joke. Oh, cool. Yeah, I played Michael Bush today. I had a full lineup and it was horrendous. And Michael Bush has only gone 0 for 4 with the golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts. That's what he did yesterday for me. Thank you very much. So I could get into it, man, a lot. And there have been choices that I made that actually helped. I didn't even bring up yesterday that I picked up Sean Murphy, the catcher, and held him all the way to the end of the weekend because I knew Will Smith would have a day off. And then on Sunday, he draws 2 walks. I win by 2 walks, and I feel like intelligent, but these are little bits here and there that are helping and that are sprinkled in over the misery that I'm dealing with. So thank you so much for giving me that opportunity, Joe.
Misery loves company, my friend, but I'm not looking to join you. I'm looking to go to the playoffs and try to win another championship, buddy. I feel for you. I hope you're wrong, but we shall see what the future holds for you. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Without you, this league is just a figment of our imagination and this show does not exist. So thank you guys for listening, watching, and being a part of the league each and every week. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.